what you need is a business model to plug that product into. So what we're going to do, we're going to take you on a bit of a journey, and it is a workshop. So the idea is you going to work. It's not a webinar. You're not just going to sit back, turn off your camera and do solitaire or emails. So I do want you to get a piece of paper out and a pen and start taking some notes, but not just notes from this. What I want you to do is I want you to develop your stuff. So not just copying the words off the screen onto your page, but actually taking what's on the screen and interpreting into what you have got for your business and your product. Okay. So we will have a time for Q&A, and we are going to have a breakout room a bit later, so there will be time to chat. So I want to hit you with about 20 minutes of theory, and then we're going to slow things down and let that percolate through your brain and get that. So what does a business do? Okay, let's unpack that. Well, there's a couple of key things that I look for when I speak to entrepreneurs that they come on board for coaching, and we kind of look at this is that we look at for a product offering. Okay, what are you making? What are you offering? And that's a unpacked line there. We look at the business model. We look at some sort of marketing strategy, taking that product to the market. We look at some sort of product diversification, which is a really big word for a Saturday morning for Jason and others that haven't quite woken up. Product diversification is how can I replicate or create other types of products from my main product. It's like, this is my product, these are all my little baby products. Product diversification, cool word to use later on today if you can. And then we look at some sort of automation. Automation is really cool because what automation gives you is I stay in bed and the automation makes money. Now, if that sounds like a dream for you, well, by 12 o'clock today, you would have some form of automation under your belt, and then maybe Monday you can stay in bed and the system will make money for you without you having to sell your time. So automation removes you from the money-making aspect of your organization. And then the last thing, the big one, sustainability, which means we can put Christmas back on our plans and maybe a year-end holiday. Wow, who here is thinking of a holiday this year? You know, a lot of people go like, what? No, we've just taken that word out of our vocab and things. So if you have a sustainable product and a sustainable business model with some automation, it means that you too can go away on holiday while the system makes money for you. And it's a great pleasure to wake up in the morning and have your phone beep at you at 8 o'clock when the banking system goes and there is money in your account. We all live for that dream, but let's unpack that a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the business model. We're just going to circle that one thing. I want to drill down into that area and look at business models this morning. So there's a number of business models, and I've just taken my kind of top 4 or 5 ones that I have. There's a list of about 23 that we've got here that we use, but there's a couple of ones that we kind of use over and over again, and I want to share that with you, and then we're going to drill down into one of those. So there's the product base with an upsell. I call this the Barbie doll model, because the way Barbie doll was made is that they made a doll, the core product, and then there's a million accessories. It's like Apple computers, okay? And I don't want to get into yet another war with all the fruit machines out there, but if you buy an Apple, you've got to buy like a million accessories. It's the same way as an Apple, as a Barbie doll, you buy Barbie, plain Barbie, and then if you go to look at all the different accessories, and there's hundreds and thousands of plugins like Ken, and getting all those sorted out there. So that's a good product model to have and to utilize. Another one that we see quite a lot of is the subscription or membership model. pretty much like a sports club or a tribe or a collection of people around a common purpose. And that's a nice one. We've also got the experiential, and it's very difficult to have any experiential model this year because everyone's been locked up, hidden behind masks and hidden behind computers and separated. We've got these 3 degrees of separation, which it's me, it's Zoom, it's Google, then it's you. And that separation is being terrible. And we've also got this 1.5 meter separation, and we've got to have all these things. So, I just long for a good hug and a handshake and that sort of stuff. Then very difficult to have the experiential thing. But experiential, I think the easiest experiential thing is, Wonderland, a playland, a place, a fancy hotel, Seychelles out on the Northeast Shore is a really good place to have an experiential model where people have got this beautiful, white sand, sunset, dancing in the evening, cocktail hour, all that sort of stuff. So that experiential model that we speak about. The other one is also the events, which kind of overlaps quite a lot. In fact, all of these have got a bit of an overlap. The events model, and I'm not talking event as in, I'm going to a conference. It's all about having an event, which is the core event, and then you've got your product upsells around that. And there are some people that are absolutely key and have mastered this. I know I've got a model that actually tells you what time on a weekend conference you need to put your medium sell, your small sell, and your big sell at. It's like 9:30, 11 o'clock, and 10:30. And you've got to have those things at that time, because as with that emotional roller coaster through a weekend, you pinpoint exactly when you sell and how to get that done. And it's very key to be able to have those models. And then the last one is the speaker's model, and that's really what we're going to be speaking about this morning. So I want to drill down into what you could do with your keynote as your main product. So if you've developed a keynote, and I'm hoping most of the people here have got some form of address, whether it's a speech or a keynote or a powerful message, or wherever you are there. This is a PSA workshop, so we're assuming, and I'm going to, I think, safely assume that most of us are speakers or have an ability to speak or a will to speak going forward with that. So let's look at the speaker's business model that we have. So the key thing here right up front is that we have catered for all the red squares on the screen here. So we've identified a problem that we want to solve. Now, if you're sitting here and going like, flip, this is strange to me, I just want you to write these down, because it's something I want you to share in the breakout groups later. This is the business model that we're building, and you've got to develop this around that. If people, and 90% of people I see do this, they jump right to the product. They hear a speech, they read a book, they discover something, they go through an experience, and it could be a good experience like climbing a mountain or cycling around a continent or rowing across an ocean, and they write a keynote around that. Or they go through a traumatic experience and then they write about that. Or they are living a incident, they're living an experience, and then they write about that. So those are kind of the keynotes that we see often. There's also the ones that people have discovered a formula, like I found the ABC of countering anxiety while flying, and then they share about that, and that becomes their entire thing. No matter what category you have there, that's the third block there. You've got to just press pause and go back a couple of steps. If you haven't written a page for the first two, then I want you to do that. So if you're sitting going like, my keynote is not working, I'm not making money, I don't have island with helicopter yet, then, or maybe even, you know, plot of land or a hope or a paper aeroplane, no matter where you are on the scale of getting your island with helicopter, these are the critical steps that you need to get to. So I want you to just rewind your business a little bit and spend time on that. So identifying the problem. This is an interesting one because unless you are solving a problem or adding to a pleasure, a business you do not have. Okay, so second rule of entrepreneurship is identify the problem and define that. So it doesn't have to be a big problem. It could be people are hungry, people are thirsty, people are frustrated, people have got anxiety. It could be a big problem like the world is about to end and I'm sorting out climate change. So it depends on where your problem is. There's a couple of things we write about 20 questions around that, identifying the problem. So what are the key factors? What are the triggers? What are the mitigating circumstances? What is the evidence? What are the outcomes? And how does that all fit together by identifying the problem? So the more you can write, and I'm looking here for a kind of a mini thesis on identifying the problem, the more you understand the problem, the better your product will be and the easier it will be to sell. Okay, so we're looking at that sustainability, remember, and that's where we're leading with it. So the more you do here and you understand that, and a lot of people get really frustrated with me because they, oh, you know, I'm so far, I'm about to launch my stuff and stuff, and we go back to this. This is where two things happen. Firstly, we uncover other areas that we didn't know existed, which are opportunities to make money. And we also dispel assumptions that you've made that were wrong assumptions. And that's probably why your product's not selling, because you didn't do this investigation in the beginning. So really want to press pause on your business and take you back there. This is an exercise that you need to do, and you are not going to do it in 5 minutes while you're listening to Bruce on a Saturday morning. You're going to spend hours and hours going back, and literally it's an ongoing, ever-present exercise in any business. So whether you're running a small business selling fish and chips to people, or you want to take over the world or change the world, these are things on a regular basis. It should be coming up in your board meetings on a thing. And if you're a one-person show, still have a board meeting because it needs to be on the agenda. Okay. The next little red circle there is the identifying the targets. And these are your client base. And again, here we're looking for a mini thesis, at least 2 or 3 pages of notes or scribbles or diagrams and stuff. And here is the first rule of entrepreneurship, which is niche thyself. Okay, and once you've found your niche, niching happens on 2 points. Niching means I'm going to niche my product offering to a niched problem, but it's also I'm going to niche myself to an identified target audience. So one of the worst things that you can tell me when you come for coaching is my product is for everyone. Okay, and I know you've had that, you know, that myth, the illusion, the delusion going through your head. It's not right. Okay, and even though your ailment might be amongst 6 of the 7 billion people on the planet, your target market is not everyone. And as soon as you understand that, and as soon as you get to reducing your target market, the bigger your income will be. And it's one of those kind of oxymoron logic things, is that it doesn't make sense. If I'm after a smaller target market, how on earth can I make more money? Well, it's just one of those laws of nature that works. The smaller your target market, the bigger your income and the more sustainable your organization and your income will be going forward. All right, makes sense? No, it doesn't. Well, accept it from this after years and years of experience. I've been doing this since Monday, so I know what I'm doing, and this is my experience of what we've seen with thousands of organizations with it. Get these first two steps right, and you're already 60% towards your island. Okay, so the third red square there is your product offering. Now this is probably what you've already done. You've probably printed business cards, and you've probably got a website and a Facebook page and an Instagram account, and you might have had a little badge made, or you're doing all these things like, "Woo, here I am, and I've got a slogan, and I've spent some time creating a little logo and all that sort of stuff." If this has changed based on your first two steps, then be brave enough and bold enough to go change what you're doing, even if it means an entire rebrand of who and what you are. So take that. Often we spend months redoing what folks have come with an initial offering to say, this is what I do. And we go back and we then take this and we realize that, wow, this is shift. And it could be a few degrees shift. It could be 90 degrees or even some 180 degrees. And sometimes we go full circle and we end up back where we were, but now we are a lot more focused and a lot more laser tuned into what we're doing. And we've added a whole bunch of opportunities. We've also taken away a whole bunch of things that are no longer relevant to what you're offering. So you see there, right on the other end of your screen there, we've got that other little red circle, which is desired outcomes. Now that's a good one to define, because what that is, it ends the sentence, says, if people come who are my target market with this defined problem, okay, your identified problem, and they then engage with my product, if all goes well, and I wave my magic wand and sprinkle some Hogwarts medicine into there, then they will get to this desired outcome, which is the result of why you started this in the first place. So they are happy, they've saved the world, we've saved the lesser spotted beige frog from the wetlands, we've changed their mindset, we've got people to, eat tripe and enjoy offal with mushroom sauce, or whatever your desired outcome is, then that is. And I've put it on the far side of the page here because that's as often as far away as it appears to be. And we do not want a whole lot of stuff just to like magically happen and people, ooh, desired outcome, because you're not selling bread and milk. We're just selling change. And with change comes resistance, and with resistance is included with people and tribes and attitude and politics and economic stuff and all that gunk. And what we want to do, we want to build that into a sales funnel. So on your screen now, we've taken out that stuff, and I've got this void between your first three and that last one, and we've put in a sales funnel. Now, it might not be a typical sales funnel that you see. It's a sales funnel that's kind of fallen on the side, and it's not like Charlotte's futuristic funnel, which faces the other way that you might have seen it. And what I want to do is I want to define that funnel with you this morning, and I want you to take into kind of for your business, how does that impact? How does that work? How does that sort of get to with us? In fact, I actually want to pause there. Maria, can we put people into breakout groups of how many people? We've got 17. Can you put 6 different breakout groups with a couple of people? Now I want to literally spend 10 minutes, okay, and let's go away and share how you doing by defining the red dots. Okay, have you defined your identified problem, your identified target, your product offering, and how does that work? So share a little. You don't have to share all your secrets there. It's just kind of, yeah, I've kind of got this, I haven't got this, shit, this is all brand new to me, I have no idea what this is all about. Or, hey, I've got this taped, I've organized, I'm cooking, I'm already shopping for helicopters. All right. Ariette, have you got those breakout groups done? I've sprung this on you. Are you then, as an example, because we make great examples for show and tell, is that we can sit there and say, okay, did you know that men who are over the age of 50 have got certain problems with their prostate? Okay, now for a man who's like 30, he's going like, ah, yeah, whatever, that blah, 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 it's not me there and stuff, but I've got 20 years to think about that, so that's cool there. And you go on and you explain prostate health to, which I'm not going to do for you. Then what you do there, you're informing people to say, oh, you know, this is the indication, these are the evidence, this is the outworkings, these are the critical things that happen, this is the results, blah, blah, all that sort of stuff, healthy, you know, fuzzy uniform, blah, 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 and we can go down all that sort of stuff there. And then you can say, if you are a man of over 50 and you're experiencing any of these, then get to your doctor. Or if you know somebody who's a male and over 50, then you can do that. So what you're doing, you're empowering people in the inform to then create that awareness. So you're creating that awareness, and often these are the ones that are done for free. So these are your free talks. But if you do a free talk, you market the hell out of it. And often if you get to speak on the radio, if Andre invites you onto the radio, then you say, Andre, I'm happy to come chat to you on the radio, but I want to market myself out of that. If you are paid for this, then often you have to reduce the amount of marketing that you can, but we do some really covert marketing tactics that you can weave in among your speeches and your offerings at this stage there. But that's your whole thing. People are now aware. So whether you're speaking about climate change or stress or productivity or teamwork or any of the stuff that we've got here, is that people are aware. Like, I don't know that I've got this stuff until I know that I need it, or I'm going to suffer from it, or I'm going to die from it, or it's going to affect my life positively or negatively. Those are the sort of things. So you do need a couple of products that raise awareness. Too often we jump into the sell and we go like, do you want to sign up for this program? And people go like, why? Like, why would I want to sign up for that program? Why is that even relevant to me? And stuff. And that's the answer. If you get that blank look on people's faces when you speak to them, it's because you haven't done that step one for awareness. So you've got to have an awareness campaign. And even though it's blatantly obvious to you, it's not always obvious to everybody else. Everybody else is coming from their own life experience, from their own trauma. If we look at the 19 people online this morning, we got 19 different areas and circumstances and emotions and financial situations and health situations that 19 people have woken up this morning completely different. And it's very important to create that awareness of, hey, you need to know more about the subject. You know you've ticked the inform box if people come back and ask you the simple question, tell me more. Then you can tick the inform box. They say, that is working. When people queue up, you know, when you've done a short talk and then you have a break and you walk off the stage and there's a queue right to the back of the room waiting to talk to you, then you can tick that inform box to say, hey, this is good. If you take a pile of business cards an inch thick and you've handed them all out at the end of the day, you've done the inform part. If your phone is beeping as people are filling in your online forms or scanning your QR code, then you know that you've done that. If there's this deathly silence and you come off the stage or you close your Zoom account and you're all alone in the world, then you stuffed this part up and you need to redo it. So just think back to your last couple of speeches and go like, maybe maybe I've got some work to do here, and maybe I haven't. Depends on where you're at with that. So that's the first part, you inform. The next part is the educate. This is the answer to the question, tell me more. So you're going to say, I'm so glad you asked. All right. Let me tell you a little bit about my program or my offering, or a little bit more about the problem. So if you're dealing with something as complicated as some of the environmental or social issues, some people go like, so tell me about this, you know, what's this ozone layer thing that you've been talking about, or what is food security, or, you know, how do we empower people, or, you know, like, where is Africa? Okay, get that a question from the guys in the States. You know, it's not south of Texas, it's an entire continent. And an interesting kind of perspective is that people want to know more. So you've got to have education offerings here. Now, we're not talking, you know, course, go away and do a course here, you know, read this 700-page book. It could just be, well, I've got 3 things for you. These are the 3 things that expand on the awareness with us. So what we're doing, we're beginning to narrow your focus. And you can see there, the narrower, the less people we're talking to, and that is okay. One of the big things that I've learned over the last couple of years, that if you're talking to 100 people and you only after 3% of that audience, do not waste any energy about the 97%. Ignore them, they're not your target audience. And that is one of the big psychological and emotional releases that we see people get over or suffer under the whole time. It's like, oh, we've had so many people book and no one came. We had 100 people in the audience and I only got 2 business cards. Oh, I'm a failure because that's only a 2%. And we got this illusion that, again, everybody is our audience. And once you've got that into your numbskull to say, I'm only focusing on 2% of the audience, and if you get 2 business cards out of 100 people, you have hit 100% of your target market. And you should go out and celebrate, go buy yourself flowers and a chocolate fudge milkshake, because that is one of the success things. So understand what your logic is. Don't grade yourself based on a fish's ability to climb a tree. You are not there. Focus on what you've done there and measure your successes accordingly with that. Okay. If you've done the educate correctly, then what you've done, you've created a need. And the correct response from someone who's been educated is, where do I sign up? Where do I get this? How do I, you know, how do I log in? Where do I buy? Send me an invoice, update me with a quote, whatever that is there. Because if you've educated people, you then created a need in people. And there's this wonderful little quote which I use and said, there's nothing more desirable than something you just can't get. All right? So there is nothing more desirable than something you just can't get. So often in the educate point, you don't want to over-educate people. You don't want to hit them with, well, here's my 1,000-page thesis on this whole thing and understand it, and I'm going to hit you with 1,000 facts and over and over and over again, and people go like, oh, too much, too much. The best way to educate there is that there are 5 key things that you need to know about food security. And I'm going to tell you the first 2. And the first 2 is this, and it's got 3 points and this and this, and then there's a second one, and there's the 3 points, and you know what? We've run out of time. And people do not care about the first 2. They've learned, they've been educated, they know about food security. You know what's going to keep them up at night? Are the 3 things you didn't tell them. And go like, oh, I just want to know, I want to know, I want to know that. So your educate is chumming the water, for a fishing term, is that when you chum the water, you throw little bits of bait not connected to hooks into the water, and it gets the fish excited. If you're fishing for sharks, you throw in like bits of, bloody meat into the water, and it sends the sharks. And then when you throw in your bait, you can catch a fish simply. So chumming the water is creating an environment that's almost a feeding frenzy, and that's what your educate is all about. And then all you have to do is flick the switch, and then you come to your sell. And your sell is a niche. Now we're focusing down to that 2% or the 3% or whatever your target market is there. It's the high cost item, and you are then fulfilling the need for that person. And you can do this. Now, like I said, is that you can sell across all the different aspects of this, but your final sell, your niched product, is your big ticket item. It's your one-on-one, it's your weekend away with your clients, it's the come visit me on your island type scenario. It's where the big money is. It's where you're earning 80% of your money with 20% of your client base that you're speaking around there. You might be earning other parts in your sales funnel, but here's where your sustainability comes, and this is where you need to apply your automation and your focus. All right, got it. Simple. Okay, re-engineering your entire business. Let's unpack each of these a little bit quickly as we go. So for your first part, these are the sort of things there where you would have a webinar. Now, I've loosely put these. This is not a prescription that I'm expecting you to have. It's a suggestion of something around what we see typically for speakers. Every time I do this model, it's slightly different for people, but here are some examples of the 3 different categories. If it's different for you, cool, accept it, plan it, do it, make it happen with us. So often we will do keynotes, and there's this wonderful thing called showcasing. Okay, now some people say never ever showcase. I'm saying if you've got an opportunity to speak, speak. Okay, we were talking in the launch mastermind this week. What's the first thing you say when someone asks you to speak? It's yes. Okay, worry about the rest of the stuff later. The first thing out of your mouth is, yes, I will speak. And, speak at Rotary, speak at Lions, speak at BNI, speak on the radio, speak to friends, speak to the teddies at the end of the bed, whatever it is, speak, 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 because speaking leads to speaking, and more speaking leads to more speaking. And especially in this times, is that never, ever turn down an opportunity to speak. Pitch your speaking at every chance. Pitch your speaking on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, email people, Google conferences, get to speak, and speak as much as you can, because speaking will lead to further speaking. If you're not filling up your sales funnel in the beginning here, you're never going to end up with that target market, your niched high price product at the end with us. Unless you've got all this taped and you are so famous that you don't have to do anything and people are only booking you for your end thing, then you can drop this stuff. But I'm assuming you're on this workshop this morning because it's not working. So go out and speak. So run webinars, run keynotes as often as you can. But remember, in this category, it falls under the inform banner. So what you want to do is you want to inform. And how does an inform start? Did you know? And if you can write a keynote speech that says, did you know, at least 2 or 3 times in your speech, you know that you're ticking the boxes with that. And what you want to do is you want to end off an activity in this block with, do you want to know more? Because then you're taking people from the inform into the educate box. Now you can get paid for this. You can give a 10-minute talk. You can give a 25-minute radio interview with us. That's a sponsored part. And you might not get directly paid for your speaking or for your presenting, but you can market this to the nth degree. So you're earning money. You can sell your book, you can upsell your products, you can do a number of things with us, but you want to drive people down towards your high ticket item as we go there. Make sense? Cool. Okay. So we've got activities there. We got our next activities which are some forms of masterminds, masterclasses, and workshops. So typically I would then say, okay, so I've got my webinar on food security, something that we're working on at the moment, and I would run a couple of workshops on food security or webinars, and people will go there and I'm going, did you know that food security across Africa has got this and this and this, and the food triangle has to be accomplished to gain a level of food security across the different things. These are the key players, these are the key stakeholders, these are our outcomes, and that's when people go, wow, that's amazing, Bruce, won't you tell me more? And you're going to go, absolutely, I've got a workshop which runs next Wednesday. Come and join and we'll unpack food security and all the different aspects, and we'll show you a model and a kind of a methodology that we've worked, and people go, oh, that's amazing. They come pay for the workshop, they attend a workshop, and then we unpack. So they walk away from that going like, oh, I now know all about food security in Africa, and I know the presenting issues, I know what to look for, I know the society stakeholders, and I know how to then lower the effects of food security in my region or community. And people go, good workshop, love it. But there's more. How do I do this? And that's what you've got to do there. So whether it's masterminds or masterclasses is just a short workshop. It's I love this. We had workshops a while ago, and I was a workshop facilitator, and then we had, then we watched Master Chef from Australia, and we go, it's got to be a masterclass, and we learned this terminology, and that word spread across the world, and everyone was doing masterclasses, and then everyone goes like, oh, it's so long and boring. So now we have this thing called mini masterclass, which is like just a touch of wisdom. It's like the Jamie Oliver, 3 ingredient meals, or your meal in 30 minutes. And those are like mini masterclasses, and we sit in awe at the feet of our gurus, and we learn this wisdom from mini masterclasses. And that's what we've got to unpack. So if you're able to kind of educate people through mini masterclasses or workshops, call them whatever you want, make up stuff you can, then here you are educating. But just remember, there's nothing more desirable than something you just can't have. So do not share everything. Always hint at what's behind door number 2. Okay, and always sit there and say, I've got like 16 different ingredients for the stuff there, but let me just look at the main ones. Okay, salt, water, and beef, but I've got the secret herbs and spices mix, and you know what? I sell that on my website, and people go, ooh, and that's it. So what you're doing is you're creating a need for a certain product with that. So I've seen that work really, really well with speakers standing on the stage, and they do the whole education. This is what we do. Here's there. Look at this diagram, this this and this and this. And then they end off with this wonderful thing to say, at the back of the room, I'm going to be there at the break. If you want to come and learn more about what we do, I'm happy to take business cards at the end, or hold up your business cards and I'll send one of the ushers running around the room to collect, and I'll invite you to something else. Or one of the best things that I've seen, which is a real nasty thing for speakers at a conference, I've tried this once and it worked, is that you sit there and say, what, this afternoon, I know there are other speakers at the conference. I'm here all day, but I've booked a room outside as a breakout group. It holds just 10 people. If you want to be one of those 10 to come join me this afternoon, rather than listen to some of these other speakers, then come give me your business card. And what you're doing is you setting yourself aside. The other speakers are going to hate you and going like, oh, why didn't I think of that? But what you're doing is you're making yourself so exclusive. Like out of the whole room, I only want 10 people. And I'm going to give my time to you for this. And what you just limiting, you niching the room down to a handful of people, you put them in a room at the back, they're missing out on all the speakers in the afternoon, but they don't care, because what they want is they want you. And you are able to do that. Just make sure you pass that by your event organizer before you do that. Otherwise, you probably won't get invited back the next time. But often the feedback from that, a good time to do that is in the evening before the cocktail parties or during the lunch hour. You say, you know what, get your lunch and come and join me in the room, and we'll spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depends on the lunchtime, and we can have that one-on-one chat if it's going to be an issue. But what you want to do is you want to put yourself in a class of one. You don't just want to stand on the stage and say, you know, I'm just speaker number 14 in, you know, the series, and I'm just part of this thing, and I'm just going to stand in the line like little sheep, and oh, it's my turn to speak. Thank you very much. Oh, such a pleasure. I'm so honored to be here, blah, blah. And off you go. And people go like, okay, next. You want someone to say, you know, you are honored to have, you know, me speak to you. Let's make a deal here. Let's set yourself apart without making it egotistical. And I'm not here trying to say, you know, we need to blow our own trumpets. You just need to manage yourself into that niche, because if you can speak to that 2% in the room and you only get the 2%, you're leaving the other 98% for the other speakers, and that's fine. Get those 200% sale on your target market, tick, and off we can go to our end point at the end, which is for me, it's coaching. I want one-on-one coaching. It's one of my high ticket items. I want to get people into a room. I want to say, if you want to unpack this model, I've got a 4-month gold coaching program that we take speakers through every single aspect of this. We unpack this for you in great detail. We develop your products with you. We proof them. And in 4 months, we are able to get you to your desired outcome. All right, did you see the covert marketing there? Okay, I want to tell you what I'm doing so you can see an example of how it works. And those are the types of things. So you market, you hold up that holy grail of desired outcome to say, woo, island, you know, with helicopter, speaking, booking, sustainable income, you know, money coming in while you're on holiday, stay in bed on Wednesday mornings because your phone is going to do all the work for you. And that is where we want to take people and get people. Okay, so we've got our model here, and we want to start just filling in the bottom part. So quickly, what I want to do is I just want to build the purple stuff at the bottom and see how we can create that. So there's a couple of things that you need. This is the secret sauce to hold all this together. And Steph has identified that for us. He says that you've got this model, you've got the methodology, this is where it fits in there. You need these 3 things, and they need to be designed scientifically, they need to be proven, and they need to be made to look pretty and flippin' awesome, because if you can get these 3 purple blocks done, you cannot get them done until you've done all the red and greens. But once you get to the purple blocks and you are at a point here where you can hold up these, then you put yourself in the category of 1. Which, if you've heard the talks about that, you know what I'm speaking about, and that's where you want to be. You do not want to be one of many. You don't want to be, oh, I speak on sales, or I speak on, you know, health issues. You want to be the person who speaks on this with this model in this niche and focusing on this. Then people go, wow, that is the person that I need. And you need the model, you need the blueprint, and you need a methodology. They are separate things, but they are connected. Those arrows should actually be all connected, because they are one thing, but they are separate things, if that makes any sense to you at all. And then just to add the cherry and the crackling on the top is you need the all-important, book. All right, if you are a speaker and you want this all to work and you do not have a book, then join the book writers mastermind. Go and write a book. Go get a ghost writer to write you a book. Do something, even if it is just a 40-page A6 book. Start there. You do not have to go write this novel. You don't have to go and type up 60,000 words. Start with a 20,000, start with a 15,000 word book, just describing it, self-publish, get that done. And if you don't know how to do that, there's so many resources that are able to help you out with that. You see, this thing is that when people get introduced, they say, and best-selling author, you know, ta-da, and things. So people put themselves in a category. I can show you a really simple way how to launch a book and become a best-selling author. It's not that hard. We fudge the system, but you get that credit on Amazon of being a best-selling author. And if you can be a best-selling author on launch day, you tick that, you take that, you put it across the cover, and you are now a best-selling author. So little thing is that I put my book on Amazon. It was an ebook, and I launched it the same day I launched. I sold one book in San Francisco and one book in New Zealand, in Auckland. They were both connections of mine, and they bought the book online, and I became instantly, just like that, a global selling author. I sold my book to the far corners of the earth, San Francisco at the top and New Zealand at the other corner, and instantly I claim that I'm now an international selling author, because within 10 minutes I'd sold 2 books. And the nice thing about Amazon, you can go and see where you ranked on the best-selling author thing. Last time I checked, I am on the best-selling list of Amazon. And we can stop there, or I can tell you the truth that I'm at 4,468,000 on that list, but I'm on the list because I've got a book. And if you do not have the book, you are not on the list. And if you're not on the list, you lack that golden block at the bottom there that says book. So that's the model. That's it. A simple little thing. So here's a checklist for you. If you copy anything down today, this is it. You've got to have the following things to kick ass to get towards that island. Know what you offer. Develop a functional business model around that, create an effective marketing strategy. That now is taking that business model and making it work. It's no use having a thing drawn on the flip chart or a whiteboard or fancy graphics. Is that you've got to animate that. It's got to work. So where are the arrows? Where's the function? Every arrow needs a name. Every methodology needs to be activated with that. Then you look at other ways to sell your stuff. That's that diversification, big word, okay? Where else is that? Get all that stuff sorted out. Make sure that it's beginning to work. Diversify that. Create books, create models, create cheat sheets. Do this, sell that, break up this, add this, all that sort of stuff, and create an array of different products that you can sell. Then develop your ways to reduce your time through automation and create sustainable strategies. It's easy. That's how you make kick-ass money. That's how you make money. That's how you have this business. That's how you develop this whole thing. It's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done and dusted, tick them off, done that, plan a deck chair on the beach and go and make it happen. But I want to push this a little bit further, because what we're going to do is we're going to give you the bonus part of this workshop now, and we're going to look at ways to reduce your time through automation. And automation is something that comes at a cost. Well, not always, because one of the best tools that I have used, and I'm not even just saying this because Angie's on the line, is that Quicket has saved my ass time and time and time again, because it takes a huge chunk of stress, anxiety, and complication out of this whole business model. And once you learn how to use Quicket, and you've got a Quicket account, and you've done all the short admin thing to get loaded there, it is so simple. 10 minutes and I can launch a product just like that. And it works, and it works beautifully. It's safe and it's secure, and it's flippin' awesome. So what I want to do is I want to give you a chance to come and chat to me. If you've taken this business model today and you go like, this is something I want, this is something I need, this is something that I can't live without, I need that secret sauce, I need the silver bullet to change my business. We have an offering of a 4-month sprint program with us. We will take you and your business and your concept, no matter what stage it is at, and we will develop a kick-ass sustainable income generating business model that's effective with marketing strategies around that with you. So if you want to take me up on that, then just drop me a line, WhatsApp me, email me, send me courier pigeon, smoke signals, come visit me, whatever it takes, make it happen. The ball's in your court now.